Maybe I wanted to do a mini interview, and now I know what should be the theme for the sequence of mini interview. It's all about trauma. It's all about real life example of how you grew up with trauma. And so I thought maybe I would start with the biggest one, at least in my mind, the biggest one, which is how you came to United States. Now, somewhere in the talk you mentioned that you're an old man, so let me kind of remind you that you're far from being an old man, okay? Someone who's born in 1963 has, I'm quite a few years older than you are. But in any case, so we did this once before in Chinese, the full interview. So I'm going by my memory. You came to United States when you were 19.
Yes, I was 19.
Yeah. Now you were born in 1963, which means that you were born while the Americans were still fighting in Vietnam.
Yeah.
I believe we left. The Americans left in 76.
75.
75. So you were 12 years old.
Yes.
Yeah. So you remember some of that, I'm sure, the wartime. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But then yet you stay another 7 years and left when you were 19. Most of us probably don't know that even though the Americans had left, the wars continue in Vietnam.
Yes.
And you actually left right in the middle of the war between the Vietnamese and the Chinese, right?
Correct.
And so there was a reason why your parents decided that you have to leave.
Correct.
And what was that?
Well, I turned 18 in 1981, and in Vietnam, when you are 18, automatically you will be drafted to the army for training. And at the time, it was to fight China.
Yeah.
So there's no way, there's no way in hell that even modern day that the U.S. would want to get involved in a war with China. So my mom was hesitant, and her friend said, "You got to let him go. Either you take a risk and he could be better, or he could go fight China." So in the end, she decided to let me go, and we left Vietnam from the port of Saigon, and we spent. There were 142 of us. We spent 7 days, 6 nights on a boat without food, without water. Well, 3 spoons of water a day. One teaspoon of water for breakfast, for lunch and dinner.
Now let's make sure that our students understand, have some perspective. How big is the boat?
The boat was like, in terms of meters, like 3 meters in terms of width, and in terms of length, I think it was like 10 meters. So translate that into feet, and I was sitting with my knees, like folded like this, and I was sitting in a lower level, and the whole 7 days, that's how I was sitting.
And how many? I think you said it, but how many? Remind me again. How many people were in that tiny little thing?
142, but then a woman, she was 7 months pregnant, and someone fell on her, and then she gave birth to a child, and so there were 143. Yeah.
So basically, you had no food. There wasn't. They didn't plan on you guys having food.
No, not even water.
Oh, they didn't even plan on you having water.
They have a few jugs of water that for spare, and that's how they pass around.
Yeah.
A bit of water like 3 times a day.
Now, and they didn't plan on how long this is going to be. They're just going to send you out to the sea, and it could be anywhere from 3 hours to 30 days, right?
Yeah, correct.
So, had you not leave Vietnam, it would have been a death sentence, because they would have sent you a person of Chinese heritage into China, right?
Yeah.
So they didn't mind that you were in the front, right? Because you weren't one of them.
Yeah, correct.
So it would have been a death sentence had you stayed, but for all practical purpose, you're also this escape was practically a death sentence, because you have no idea whether you're going to come out this alive or not. You were just rolling the dice, right?
Yeah, yeah. I was 18. I had no clue what I was doing or what I got myself into, and I was only 110 pounds.
Now, and you were not alone.
I came with my younger brother, Dennis, who was 13 at the time.
And and you were the oldest of a family of seven,
Of
right?
seven.
Seven child, and so there was you were the oldest and the first male child, of course, and then so you took son number two or number three.
Three. He's number three.
He's number three. What happened to number two?
Number two had to stay behind because he was able to help. Otherwise I was the only person doing everything at home. So if both number one and two were to go, then my parents would be paralyzed. No one could help them.
I see. And he's not at the age yet where they would draft him into the military. Okay, so
Correct. He was
so
15.
so you were thinking that maybe it was just a dozen of you or so, but it turns out that there's 142, but eventually become 143. You're now on this boat about. I think my house would fit three of them here. Easy, right? Okay, so this is a tiny little thing. You really have no room to maneuver. You were this is like a can of sardine.
Correct.
And you were at the lower deck, so you don't even get to see the sun or nothing.
No.
And there were no water, no food.
I got pee on, I got head lice, after 7 days. So it took me 2 weeks to get rid of them.
Now, okay, so this is the part I didn't get when I interviewed you last time. You get pee on. Okay, so that's a trauma, but it's nothing compared to what you have to survive, what you have to do to survive. Okay, so at what point did you guys even run out of water? So you had at the best, you had 3 tablespoons of water a day.
1 teaspoon, yeah.
One teaspoon. No. 1 teaspoon of water?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
On that Thursday, luckily we had some rain, so we were getting plastic, laying out to get some water from heaven. So that helped.
Okay, but eventually that ran out.
Yeah, that ran out, and then by I think the 7th day, I think it was Saturday, because I believe we left on the Sunday. It was around September because we arrived in Malaysia on October 1st.
Yeah. Now, Carol asked, where was the boat headed? Just away from Vietnam.
Just away from Vietnam, so we were just blindly going to somewhere.
Hopefully, you get picked up by someone.
Yeah, we end up getting near the water of Malaysia. So and we were rescued on the 7th day.
Well, before you got rescued, I want to talk about the time before you got rescued, but after you ran out of water. What happened then? How do people? They still have 2 sources of water. One was from the sea.
Yeah.
You tried that, right?
Yeah. And then we had to drink our urine.
People had to drink their own urine.
Yeah, because I tried the salt water, and it was so bitter that I could not even do it. I put it on my tongue a little bit, and so then I saw 2 twin brothers who were fighting each other to drink urine, and I asked them for the plastic bag. And I turned around, I pee, and I tried it, and it was.
Why would they fight for urine? Don't they have their own?
No, well, that's what they. I don't know, but it was even between twin brothers. They were fighting each other to drink that, and they did. It was sad.
Were they fighting for the urine, or were they fighting for the container? Because you guys have no container even.
For the urine, no, they were fighting over a bag of urine.
2 brothers, twin brothers.
Twin brothers, yeah. They were teenagers, they were probably, I think, 15 or 16. And so I don't know who finished them, and I thought it must taste good. So I asked for the plastic bag, I turned around, I pee, and I tried it, I stuck my tongue into it, and I was like, oh no, I can't. And I gave it to them.
Do you sometimes wake up in the middle of night and remind yourself of what seawater tastes like or what urine tastes like? Do you do that?
Oh yeah, yeah. That's why I'm grateful. I have a bottle of water right here.
Yeah, because I noticed that you're very picky about what you drink. You drink mineral water and you drink
Yeah,
coconut water, right?
correct.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no
for
more
the
urine.
electrolytes. Yeah.
No, that's trauma.
Oh yeah, that was.
But now, your younger brother, he wasn't as healthy as you were, right?
No, he wasn't. He was actually a bit. He had fever and he was crying and screaming and he wanted to drink what is that, sugar can, and I had
Yeah,
to say no. He said get somebody to buy them, and
yeah,
I like slapped him one time. I still regret it today. Yeah, because he was out of it.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. You didn't understand why. What's the problem? Why don't you just go
yeah,
down the street and buy some? Yeah,
correct. Yeah,
he was too young. He was too young to
correct.
compromise.
So yeah,
So that's 7 days and 7 nights,
six
and
nights,
then
7 days, 6 nights.
7 days, 6 nights, and then you. What? How did it feel when you see land? When you figured out that you're seeing land and it's not Vietnam.
I was still out of it. We were rescued. So the Malaysian Coast Guard called the UN. So the UN staff came and took us into a center
Oh, so
the
the
land.
Malaysian government, they didn't want to take responsibility because
No,
once,
no,
yeah,
it was the UN. Yeah,
yeah,
because
because
we were
I see. So they take you to this special island that's
yeah.
been
And yeah,
set up.
and I was okay, but it was so they gave us instant noodles. Oh my God, but no chopsticks. So I had to go to the trees around and broke some branches, tiny branches, use them as chopsticks. But the noodles taste so good. Yeah, and just so people know out there, it took me 2 weeks to recover my health, meaning that I ate 6 times a week, 6 times a day, like a big bowl of rice with just a bit of oil and a bit of soy sauce. I and nothing else, no protein, nothing, just the rice,
Okay.
6 times a day, and it took me 2 weeks. And then my body was back to normal, and I was able to eat 3 meals a day back then.
Wow.
Yeah,
No one needs to go through that.
no, but I'm glad I survived. Anyway, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay. So that's all I wanted to do today. It's kind of it's not the beginning, it's not the end. It's just right in the middle. It's actually where you, because everybody knows that you're from Vietnam. So the natural question would comes like, what airline did you take? How was the food? Whether or not you complain about the lack of leg room.
No, no, yeah.
Okay, unless there's any questions, I think we just call it a day. And then maybe just quickly, since there's so much interest in trauma and how to overcome trauma with mindfulness and also with loving kindness meditation, maybe you could quickly just give us a preview of what the next session would be, which I believe would be in October 4th.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, basically, what we have to be mindful of is being triggered, right? We can be triggered, but we don't have to feel overwhelmed. Let's say when someone was abused by their parents who was screaming at the kid. So when you hear another person screaming, you can get triggered, you get startled, but you don't have to be paralyzed, which means in the hypoarousal zone, or you don't have to get angry, which means that you are in the hyperarousal zone. You can still stay in this window. So, or when you are meditating, an image comes up and you get triggered, you can come back to the breath and let go of that image. However, because of the way that we were traumatized, we don't feel safe. And it's hard for people who were traumatized to be in the present moment. And that's the most difficult issue that face meditators or even every human being. So I will address some of that and share some of the views by expert, by Dr. Gabor Mate, by Dr. Bezel van der Kolk, by Dr. Nadine Burke-Harris,
Okay.
you know,
Okay.
to address that. And then with the practice of the Brahma Vihara, which are loving kindness, compassion, appreciating, sympathetic joy, and equanimity, and forgiveness as well. So that may take 2 lectures
Okay.
as
Okay.
well. So yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So that's great. I remember we talk about your experience inside the prison and how many of the incarcerated individuals their journey, of actually started when they were a child. There's typically a lot of violence in the family, either by the father or by the stepfather or whatever. And so that ties into our next mini interview, where I would talk about how you grew up, that you actually grew up in a very violent environment as well, your relationship with your father. And then perhaps after that, maybe then we'll talk about how we use the 4 immeasurables, loving kindness, compassion, empathy, and equanimity to overcome your own difficulty with your father. Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. So everyone, if you have made any donation today, just let you know that it would be matched one to one, and I will send all that to Venerable De Hong. All 100% of it will go towards supporting his work inside the prison. Okay, whether it is to buy books, buy stamps, buy snacks, or whatever. Okay, 100%. Well, actually 200%. Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much. I'll see you guys in a month.
Thank you, everyone.
Let me just